Hello, I'm JumpSplat120 and this is just sort of a quick New Year's video. New Year's Eve, I'm trying to get it out exactly at 12, but due to uploading, that might not happen. But this is just a video of me going through all of my intros. I made quite a few intros in, I think, the 6 years I've been on YouTube. I've been on YouTube longer, but I deleted a bunch of old stuff. So anything older than my what do you call it? Twizzix, like music videos, the Amnesia stuff. I don't think there's anything before that. So we'll go over everything. First one is, the very loud, traditional JumpSplat Productions. Comes out in a little typey bit like that. Very old school. I think the thing I love about that the most is that the black is actually a gray color, which wasn't intentional. It was just shitty rendering on my part. After that, we had... Yeah. So I think the splat around the J has actually subtly modified. The J itself has gone through a lot, but the splat itself I don't think was formulated at this point. It hadn't, I don't think, quite been nailed down, but it was pretty close. And then this was back when I did JumpSplat Productions and in the titling, like just putting it out there. And the J itself, I tried to put an outline around the text, but it didn't work. So I almost immediately fixed it in this next one. And as you can see, the splat, I think, is actually subtly different. It's a little bit fuller. Maybe that's just my imagination, but it does seem a little bit different. I think it's just my imagination. And maybe it's my imagination, but it does change. And it comes in instead of going out. After that, we had that one is crazy. It's crazy how nice that one looks. Like, it's so out of character for the rest of the things that I've done. So I'm not sure. I need to track down why that one was so different and how, but it's only featured in one video, which is the Thomas Was Alone video, which I think is really interesting. Yeah, a quick search later, and it looks like the intro was done by someone named !Dan, which is fucking incredible, but if you click on the link, it goes to a channel that doesn't exist anymore, so that's a bummer. Very, very nice intro that I only ever used once. After that, we kind of had something that, close to the first intro that I ever used, where it's like, the splat comes down, and technically, I guess, and the J and stuff. The JumpSplat Productions got spread out a little bit, so it looks a little bit nicer. And the zoom in and then fade out to white, fade in from white, is something I've used in a lot since then. Then we had the first, I think that was the first one that's a falling intro, where the sort of, the J falls down, but I'm still hooked on, for whatever reason, I was still doing text at this point. I stopped putting JumpSplat Productions, which was nice, and now it's just JumpSplat120, and I do kind of like the coloring scheme and everything. Like, it's not that bad. I think just it feels a bit weird to me because it's so, older. Like, I know of it being older, and definitely I think maybe by the last one or this one, is the J different? I think the splat is subtly different by this point. I think it just like slowly gets a little bit fuller over time, or maybe the J just covers it up in a different way and makes it change shape. Maybe I'm just imagining that. After that one, we had that one, which is basically like the same as the other one, but I just took the JumpSplat production, the JumpSplat120 off of the bottom, and the J itself got changed a little bit. After that, we had just this. This is one of the corrupted intros that I had. A couple of corrupted intros. They're not intentional, and one of the reasons why my intros changed instead of me sticking with them forever was because some of my intros were corrupting. That glitch intro was the first intentional glitch intro. I took a little bit of inspiration from the glitched intro from before, but also I wanted it to be a more stylized glitch, and that was for the very, very first mention of Redux on the channel. It's also the only time you'll see that intro. The next intro was this one. What's interesting is it's the transition out with the old, in with the new, and it comes in with that new one. For whatever reason, I find it really interesting actually that I never I didn't just use the old previously already glitched version that I had. I like went and redid the glitches a second time, which I don't think came out quite as nice. But it is what it is. The next intro we actually have was
these Patreon supporters.
The Patreon intro, which was the very first thing you would see before then seeing the Jay that we just saw, which was sort of the one I had for, I think, like 2 years. It was this Patreon intro, and then immediately following would be the Jay. And I wanted to put the Patreon up front, and Joe was the only person who ever donated to my Patreon. But after that, we went to this one, which I'm sure some of you remember, was actually quite recently. Very much more dramatic, I think. The J, the wiggle, the splat around the J, is constantly moving. I spent a lot of time like trying to figure out exactly how I wanted it to work, to get the impression of it hitting the ground and splatting. And I also wanted it to be a very quick, abrupt intro, faster, even faster than the old one, for whatever reason. And then, of course, our rainbow intro, which is our current intro, and ironically it's now our outro for this video. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching as we had this little bit of a trip down memory lane, and yeah, thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe if you'd like to. I want to wish everybody a happy 2018, and I will see you later, YouTube.